The landscape of modern media is shifting beneath our feet at a pace that few could have anticipated even a short decade ago, creating an environment where the traditional boundaries of information delivery are constantly being redrawn and redefined. In an era dominated by instantaneous digital transmission, the mechanics behind how stories are selected, verified, and broadcast to millions of screens worldwide have become both incredibly sophisticated and deeply mysterious to the average observer. Every day, billions of individuals engage with digital streams, clicking through an endless cascade of headlines, video clips, interactive features, and cultural commentary without ever truly pausing to consider the massive invisible infrastructure that keeps this engine running. It is a world where a single viral phenomenon can reshape public discourse overnight, yet the underlying architecture governing these massive flows of data remains hidden away in corporate headquarters and specialized newsrooms across the globe. To truly understand the nature of the modern digital experience, one must look beyond the flashing lights of the surface level and delve into the rigorous methodologies, the hidden protocols, and the philosophical foundations that dictate exactly what we see, when we see it, and why we trust it. This hidden machinery operates day and night, balancing the intense pressure for rapid-fire deployment with the absolute necessity for credibility, creating a high-stakes balancing act that defines the contemporary information age. As we prepare to pull back the curtain on this intricate universe and examine the fascinating evolution of digital news gathering, we invite you to become a permanent part of our growing community by subscribing to this channel, ensuring you never miss an in-depth exploration into the forces shaping our world. At the very heart of this media revolution is a profound tension between the desire to entertain and the fundamental obligation to inform, a duality that requires a unique kind of institutional architecture to maintain balance. The source material generated by the world's most prominent digital entities often appears effortless, blending light-hearted cultural touchstones with serious investigations. Yet, this seamless presentation is the result of exhaustive human labor and highly structured protocols. When we look at the internal blueprints of a modern global publisher, we are not looking at a chaotic environment of accidental viral hits, but rather a carefully calibrated laboratory where human psychology, technological innovation, and editorial discipline intersect. The process begins with an overarching institutional mission that must remain flexible enough to capture the fleeting attention spans of a global audience while remaining rigid enough to withstand intense scrutiny. It involves a massive network of dedicated professionals distributed across major international hubs, working in tandem to monitor the digital pulse of society and translate raw, chaotic internet activity into coherent narratives. This global footprint allows for a continuous, unbroken chain of observation, ensuring that as a trend emerges in one hemisphere, it is already being analyzed, contextualized, and prepared for consumption in another, establishing a relentless rhythm that defines the modern media ecosystem. The creation of credible content in this fast-paced environment demands an exceptionally strict approach to verification, one that moves far beyond the casual standards of baseline internet communication. In the specialized newsrooms that dictate global trends, every piece of incoming information must pass through a multi-layered gauntlet of editorial oversight to ensure that its origins are legitimate and its conclusions are sound. This process requires an extensive reliance on established authorities, peer-reviewed data, and first-hand testimonies, transforming raw rumors into verified accounts that audiences can rely upon implicitly. The transition from an unverified digital whisper to a finalized, public-facing report is a complex journey overseen by experienced gatekeepers who understand that in the digital age, reputation is the most valuable and fragile currency an organization possesses. When an item is officially cleared for publication, it represents the culmination of intense collaborative efforts to cross-reference facts, challenge assumptions, and eliminate potential biases. This systematic verification process forms the invisible backbone of the content we consume daily, acting as a crucial filter that separates genuine, substantive reporting from the vast sea of unverified noise that characterizes the modern internet landscape. Yet, despite the implementation of these rigorous checks and balances, the human element inherent in media production means that the system is never entirely immune to imperfection. The true measure of a contemporary news organization lies not in an impossible claim of absolute infallibility, but in the structural mechanisms it establishes to address and rectify errors when they inevitably occur. A transparent and rapid rectification protocol is essential for maintaining the delicate bond of trust between a publisher and its global audience, serving as a public demonstration of accountability. When new information comes to light or an oversight is discovered, the process of updating the record must be executed with total clarity, explaining precisely what was altered and why the change was necessary to ensure accuracy. This commitment to ongoing correction and revision transforms the media product from a static, immutable declaration into a living, breathing archive that evolves alongside the reality it seeks to depict. By embedding this culture of transparency directly into their operational frameworks, leading digital institutions reinforce their commitment to their audience, demonstrating that the pursuit of precision is an ongoing, self-correcting journey rather than a fixed destination simultaneously. The modern media landscape is experiencing a profound technological paradigm shift as advanced computational tools and automated systems begin to integrate into the creative work. The introduction of these sophisticated technologies has opened up unprecedented horizons for narrative experimentation, enabling the rapid synthesis of complex datasets and the generation of entirely new interactive formats. Far from replacing the nuance and empathy of human creators, these automated systems function as powerful cognitive amplifiers, helping editorial teams break through creative blocks and explore innovative methods of audience engagement. However, the integration of such powerful digital assistants brings with it a whole new set of challenges, requiring an even higher level of human vigilance to ensure that the output aligns perfectly with established ethical guidelines. Human editors must meticulously review every automated contribution, correcting the inevitable systemic quirks and ensuring that the final product maintains an authentic human resonance. This harmonious synthesis of human intuition and computational power represents the frontier of modern content creation, a compelling development that we will explore with far greater intensity and specific detail in the upcoming segment of this report. The integration of automated systems into the creative workflow marks a critical turning point, where the true operational mechanics of the media engine become visible, revealing a complex web of structural independence and commercial realities. In this high-stakes digital arena, the boundary between editorial creation and the financial mechanisms that sustain it must be maintained with absolute, unyielding precision. Leading media institutions operate under a strict doctrine of complete editorial independence, establishing an impenetrable wall between the creative minds producing the narratives and the commercial entities or sponsors funding the platform. This structural separation ensures that investigative focus, tone, and topical selections remain entirely uninfluenced by external corporate agendas or advertising dollars, allowing the authentic voice of the organization to remain uncompromised. Ethical journalism within this contemporary framework dictates that opinions and analytical conclusions must belong entirely to the creators themselves, free from the subtle distortions that often accompany commercial partnerships. By deliberately isolating the creative newsroom from the pressures of monetization, media organizations can confidently produce content that challenges established structures, protects consumer interests, and delivers a level of raw authenticity that modern audiences demand. This strict separation becomes particularly fascinating when examining the intricate world of modern consumer advocacy, digital retail therapy, and affiliate marketing, where transparency serves as the ultimate safeguard for audience trust. When a global publisher provides product recommendations, curated shopping guides, or links to external marketplaces, a sophisticated dual system operates behind the scenes to eliminate potential conflicts of interest. The specialized shopping and product review divisions function entirely as isolated units, completely separate from both the core breaking news desks and the corporate advertising sales departments. This means that when an item is recommended to millions of viewers, that recommendation is based solely on rigorous empirical testing, genuine utility, and authentic editorial enthusiasm rather than financial incentives. If a consumer chooses to purchase a featured item through a specialized link, the small commission generated does not flow back into the pockets of the individual reviewer or influence future coverage, but instead supports the broader operational infrastructure of the independent network. Every single piece of sponsored content, paid partnership, or affiliate arrangement must be clearly, visibly, and unambiguously flagged for the viewer, transforming commercial transparency into a core narrative value rather than a hidden corporate footnote. Beyond the mechanics of funding and retail transparency, the true operational substance of a modern media giant is reflected in how it chooses to mirror the incredibly diverse global population it serves. Inclusive journalism is no longer viewed merely as a passive corporate social responsibility initiative, but rather as an active, vital component of comprehensive global news gathering and cultural reporting. To truly capture the chaotic, multifaceted essence of the modern world, editorial teams must actively reject the narrow, centralized viewpoints that dominated the legacy media of the past. This requires the creation of specialized, distinct content brands within the larger organizational umbrella, each dedicated specifically to elevating underrepresented voices, exploring unique cultural subcultures, and tracking the evolving realities of marginalized communities. Whether exploring regional subcultures, celebrating diverse culinary traditions, tracking global youth movements, or providing dedicated coverage of the LGBTQ community, these specialized initiatives enrich the broader media landscape by injecting authentic, varied perspectives into the mainstream stream. By deliberately seeking out and platforming creators from a vast array of backgrounds, modern media networks ensure that their stories reflect the true complexity of their audience, proving that diversity of thought and experience is the single greatest asset in contemporary storytelling. This philosophical commitment to a multifaceted perspective naturally extends to the very bottom of the digital page, where the relationship between the publisher and the audience transforms from a one-way broadcast into a dynamic, two-way conversation. The inclusion of user-generated content, interactive public forums, and extensive comment sections represents a massive democratization of media, turning the global audience into active participants in the storytelling process. However, managing a digital community composed of millions of passionate individuals with wildly varying viewpoints requires an immense amount of structured moderation and clear behavioral guidelines. To prevent these interactive spaces from devolving into toxic environments filled with harassment, misinformation, and hostility, publishers implement comprehensive community standards enforced by both advanced algorithmic filters and dedicated teams of human moderators. The objective of this continuous oversight is not to suppress passionate debate or silence controversial viewpoints, but to cultivate a welcoming, respectful, and safe space where genuine dialogue can flourish. When an audience member shares a personal anecdote, a humorous critique, or an alternative perspective within these moderated zones, they are actively contributing to a living, evolving narrative ecosystem that extends far beyond the boundaries of the original article. When mistakes or inaccuracies inevitably slip through this massive infrastructure, the avenue for public feedback must remain completely open, direct, and responsive, serving as the ultimate accountability mechanism for the entire institution. The creation of specialized, direct communication channels between the public and the editorial executive leadership ensures that every reader or viewer has the power to challenge a claim, report a typo, or demand a deeper investigation into a specific issue. This constant influx of audience feedback is treated not as a corporate nuisance, but as a vital source of real-time intelligence that helps maintain the incredibly high standards the organization has set for itself. Every email sent to the central feedback repository triggers a structured internal review process, forcing editors to re-examine their sources, re-verify their data, and issue rapid corrections if an error is confirmed. This relentless loop of public scrutiny and corporate responsiveness binds the audience and the publisher together in a shared pursuit of accuracy and truth, reinforcing the idea that credible journalism is a collaborative, ongoing process. As we prepare to move into the final segment of this comprehensive investigation, we will fully uncover the long-term societal implications of this media model, exploring the deep biographical histories of the individuals who pioneered these modern standards and analyzing the broader global impact of digital transparency. To truly understand the far-reaching societal implications of this modern media framework, we must look closely at the architects and historical pioneers whose personal journeys and distinct philosophies laid the groundwork for contemporary digital ethics. The evolution from traditional legacy newsrooms to multi-layered interactive global networks was not an accidental byproduct of technological progress, but the result of deliberate decisions made by visionary editors, cultural analysts, and media executives. These pioneers understood early on that the internet would democratize information, and they recognized that without a rigorous new set of rules, this democratization could easily collapse into total chaos. By examining the biographies of those who structured the modern digital newsroom, we see a consistent commitment to breaking down old hierarchies while simultaneously erecting new, incredibly robust guardrails to protect foundational accuracy. These individuals came from diverse professional backgrounds spanning traditional print journalism, early computer science, community organizing, and independent cultural commentary. Their combined experiences forged a unique perspective that viewed information not merely as a commodity to be sold to the highest bidder, but as a vital public resource that must be cultivated, preserved, and vigorously defended against external manipulation. The broader systemic significance of these operational protocols becomes undeniably clear when we analyze their impact on global media literacy and consumer behavior in an increasingly complex digital world. In an environment where synthetic media, deepfakes, and algorithmic manipulation threaten to erode the very concept of shared objective reality, the rigorous sourcing and verification systems detailed throughout this report serve as a vital line of defense. By openly publishing their internal standards, error correction processes, and strict boundaries regarding artificial intelligence, leading publishers provide a masterclass in transparency that educates the consumer as much as it informs them. When an everyday media consumer learns to look for explicit disclosures of affiliate partnerships, visible corrections logs, and clear indicators of automated assistance, their relationship with the entire internet undergoes a profound and permanent transformation. They shift from being passive, vulnerable targets of the attention economy into active, discerning evaluators of digital data, equipped with the specific analytical tools necessary to separate verified truth from deceptive viral noise. This widespread elevation of public media literacy represents the single most important contribution of the modern independent newsroom, safeguarding the integrity of digital discourse across the globe. Furthermore, the long-term impact of integrating authentic, highly diverse community voices into the core narrative fabric of global reporting cannot be overstated, as it radically redefines whose stories are deemed worthy of historical record. For generations, the gatekeepers of mainstream media operated within highly insular, centralized hubs, inevitably resulting in a monolithic worldview that left vast segments of the population completely invisible and unheard. The structural commitment of contemporary digital institutions to actively platform varied cultural realities, regional subcultures, and marginalized perspectives permanently shatters this historical monopoly on narrative power. When specialized editorial teams are given total creative freedom and financial independence to cover the specific struggles, triumphs, and daily lives of underrepresented communities, they do more than just capture a passing trend. They create an invaluable living historical archive that reflects the true, vibrant complexity of our interconnected world, ensuring that future generations will look back at this era through a highly inclusive lens. This deliberate expansion of the media spotlight fosters empathy across deep cultural divides, demonstrating that despite our diverse backgrounds and unique personal histories, we are all ultimately connected by a shared human experience. Ultimately, the sophisticated fusion of human creative intuition, unyielding editorial independence, and cutting-edge computational tools points toward a fascinating, highly dynamic future for global communications. As artificial intelligence systems grow increasingly powerful, the rigorous human oversight frameworks established by pioneering digital newsrooms will become the golden standard for all creative and informational industries worldwide. The survival of an enlightened digital society depends entirely on our collective willingness to demand complete corporate transparency, strict ethical accountability, and a total separation of public information from hidden commercial influence. By understanding the intricate machinery that operates behind the screens, supporting independent journalistic voices, and actively participating in respectful public dialogue, the global audience plays a critical role in shaping this ongoing media evolution. The journey from raw, unverified data to a profound, universally shared understanding is a continuous collective effort that requires vigilance, heart, and a relentless commitment to accuracy. As we conclude this extensive, multi-part investigation into the hidden engines of modern media, we are reminded that truth and joy are not mutually exclusive, but rather twin pillars that, when properly sustained by rigorous standards, can illuminate the darkest corners of our digital world.